Did you know that you can make some amazing composites using DaVinci Resolve vector wrap node? Let's try it out. Okay, so back in my Fusion composition, the first thing I want to do is click my media in. I'm going to press F2. I'm going to rename this to something like original underscore plate. Now what we want to do is to basically add our logo on top of this and make it move with the clothing of the tent, which is really hard because it has a lot of wrinkles. It's not something easy to track. So let's add my logo here. It's gonna go to my assets and just drop this. I'm gonna do a simple merge operation. Okay, we got our first problem. The logo is too big. Let's make it a little bit more manageable. So I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna shift space, and I'm gonna, for this operation, search for letterbox. Letterbox. All right, much more manageable. The first thing I wanna do is to basically make the logo resize and move it to where I want it to be placed. So for this, I'm gonna just first rename this logo because you wanna stay organized. You're gonna go shift plus space and go to write transform. Either works. And I'm just gonna make it way smaller. And I can just move it with the handles. I think some will place about here. Perfect. Now what we really need to do is to make this follow the wrinkles. If I press play, this logo doesn't seem to work very well because it's not moving with the wrinkles. So let's fix that. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna reorganize this a little bit. Put this here and this here. And the original plate, I'm going to also press shift space, but this time I'm going to look for optical flow. This is very GPU intensive or processing intensive, depending if you use your GPU or computer. If you go to classic, you will use your CPU instead of your GPU, which is actually more accurate, but it will also take way longer. So let's keep it in advance and we're going to use your GPU only. This is what it basically does. I'm going to go here. I'm gonna make it show vectors. And what this effect does is that it creates vectors from pixels. So it's basically using the pixels to create movement. I'm gonna go back to my default view, color, and now I'm going to add the vector wrap. Vector wrap, amazing. This thing right here is expecting to output vectors, which we're giving it with optical flow, and now I can take my logo and place it here. Look at that, there it is. Now I'm gonna show you a quick render because this, as I said, is very GPU intensive and it can take a while to render. So I'm gonna skip a few seconds and show you how it looks. Let's see how this looks like. Nice, really nice. Now this is good, but it's not quite right. We can tell it's an image on top. We still have to fix this. So let's add a few improvements to this. So I'm going to just uncheck merge warp over background. This is going to basically only show the foreground. And now I'm going to add my background plate, put it on top. I'm going to Control T to shift the foreground and background. Green input is for foreground. The yellow input is for the background. And I'm gonna place this on top. See how this looks like. Nice. Why did I do this? Because we want to separate the foreground and the background because we want to add some extra adjustments only to the logo. So I'm going to do one more thing. I took this trick from Mr. Chadwick from Video Creative Tips, and I think this is genius. And I don't know why I didn't thought of this before, but it's actually super simple. We want to get our logo. We're going to change the blend mode into overlay. Cool. That should automatically make it feel much more better. If you can see, the logo feels like it has a little more depth to it, like the colors actually adapt to the scene. Now, if we want more control over this, we can add a couple things, which is I'm gonna add contrast and brightness. And I'm going to make this from here, which basically just going to make the image unsaturated, black and white. We only want to use the black and white filter underneath the logo. So what I'm gonna do is to bring this here, and I'm going to mask this node over here. So let me show you what's really happening under the hood. So I can take this and move it around, and you can see that wherever the cat is becoming black and white, right? That is because we are essentially filtering our original plate and making it black and white, but only where the cat is. And then we are merging the logo on top of that. And because we are using nodes and it's working non-destructively, we are essentially using the same building blocks. So you don't have to manually track the same mask or try to mask this in a different way. You can just use the same thing as the mask. Now, the amazing thing about this is that we can really play around with how we want our image to look. Maybe I can want to place this somewhere here, and I want to make it a little more contrasty. Just a little bit more, a little bit more bright, and you can see how this is looking. So look at this, not bad at all. After I'm happy with this, I can unlink this and make this go back to where it was. And I'm just going to Control P to reactivate these nodes. Wait a little bit for this to render, and there you go. A photorealistic logo placed on top of your footage, just like that, with wrinkles and everything. Now, we can go even a step further. We can add a background node. I'm going to deactivate this for now, simply because this is very render intensive and I want my updates to be live so I can see what's going on. And for our logo, I'm going to do something funny. I'm going to add this on top of this, and I'm going to use this to mask the background. We basically see only the background, but now I can get here with the background selected. I'm viewing the plate. As you can see, I have this little dot here showing that it's on my viewport. Press and hold and pick a color right here. Nice. Now my background color is this color, and because I'm masking it with the logo, it's going to look like this. And now this, I can make the same operation we had before. If you want to use some of the color from the background into your logo to blend the composition a little better, you can use this trick. And look at this. Quite magical. So I'm gonna just use just a little bit. There we go. And now it like really fits into the scene. And now all I have to do is to basically reconnect my two previous nodes. So all of this is basically my logo. I'm gonna make it here. And I'm going to connect this here. Disconnect this one here and connect this one here. All we're doing is taking a logo and passing it through the vector wrap node. This is what makes it move with the wrinkles, because we already fed this information to it. I'm gonna select this two, Control P. I'm just gonna wait a little bit. And we are done. This technique can do some really amazing things, but it's not a Swiss Army man. It cannot do it all. So I'm going to show you a few examples of where you can use this and where you should not use this. So for example, here, it's amazing. It works perfect. But if I go here, for things like this, where there is 3D perspective movement, this is actually not the tool I will use. I will use something like the Surface Tracker or Mocha Pro. Because this doesn't really track things in 3D. It just uses vector to take a guess for the wrinkles and all that kind of stuff. So if you are not moving in 3D space in perspective, you can 100% use this. So yes, this is amazing for like tattoos, clothing, all that kind of stuff. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. My name is Juan Martinez for Riot Ray Studios. You can watch more tutorials, just follow this channel, make sure to hit like and subscribe. And remember, with great effort, you can become an amazing artist. What a time to be alive. Yeah, that's why you're still here. You can close the window. Bye now.